Long days and pleasant nights, fellow travelers along the path of the beam. I am known on this level of the tower as Jaime and Fuego, and if it please you, join me here for the 100th installment, a giant-sized, ginormous episode of Sai King Love on Hail to Stephen King. That's right. You can just call me Fuego for short, and I hope that this program, in all of its many episodes, has brought you all long days and pleasant nights. Welcome to the horror show. Bienvenidos, and this is, as I said, a giant-sized and very special episode because of the fact that my program that basically started in an impromptu fashion in September of 2016 is celebrating 100 episodes officially. I am going to be jumping over here in a little bit to a live segment that will be taped afterwards, but my goodness, everybody, what a journey it has been, and I cannot thank all of you enough. This is basically it's a huge thank you episode to all of you, and I asked beforehand in the coming week, or in the preceding weeks, I should say, that I wanted to have all kinds of different just memories about this show, book collections, videos of art, whatever it may be, and I got an awesome outpouring on the Hail to Stephen King group, some private stuff that was sent to my email, and so, yeah, without further ado, everyone, let's get into it. So, I'm going to start the proceedings with an amazing artiste by the name of Stephen Engel, if I'm pronouncing the name properly. He is on the Hail to Stephen King group, and, yes, I must say, when he basically threw on this drawing of Leland, and it was basically just, you know, black and white pencils, but so incredibly awesome, the main antagonist from Needful Things, I was like, okay, this guy has talent, and he proceeded to grace us with this image of Leland, as I mentioned, Mr. Gaunt, that you're looking at right now, but as we segue, like, check out what he did with Pennywise. That's right, Mr. Bob Gray, the infamous clown that everybody loves so very much, and then we jump into his images that he did for Annie Wilkes that we'll take a quick peek at, and she has axe ready, y'all. She is prepared to go after Sheldon and get to chopping. That's right, because it was not what you saw in the film. It was a little bit worse. And then we have, obviously, a walking dude, Randall Flagg, yes, looking fearsome, maniacal, but yet almost like kind of fun in some strange way. Then we come to my personal favorite, which was his interpretation, I guess you could say, and he did even mention that in the Facebook post, that it was kind of just his view on what the Wendigo, or the Wendigo, I don't know, I always mispronounce this, but you've been taking a gander at it. You see Church there in the very center. And then lastly, we have Carrie, and I am just so hopeful that he is going to grace us with more images because these are all amazing. Next up, we have the book collection of none other than Jim Hahn, if I am pronouncing his name correctly. Jim is probably as avid of a collector as me, if not more so, and he's starting his own Stephen King online bookstore, which is really badass. He even polled all of us here as you look at just, you know, all of these different slides of stuff that he has done. He polled all of us asking what we thought the bookstore title would be. I actually was going to do my own bookstore at one particular point. He beat me to it, and my name still sticks with Fuego, but shout out to Jim. My father's name Jim, I am a James as well, so namesake right there. Now we jump over to Steve Johnson, and I think Steve Johnson easily, whereas, you know, Jim's still reading stuff, he's in the middle of the drawing of the three, but as you can see by Steve's stuff here, you know, he shares the name with Sai King, obviously Stephen, but yeah, just, he is as avid and as fanatical, if not more so, than me, and I give so much credit to him for that. He is also a big proponent of Cemetery Dance and the different, just, you know, varied editions that we see from all of these different smaller publishers, like, you know, Subterranean and PS and, you know, CD, obviously. So then we're jumping overseas to Italia. I am such a just huge fan of everything, you know, of the Italian culture and, you know, food and, you know, art and architecture and everything. But my homie Marlito Pietro, man, he has been a strong supporter of Chiron my band, and he has, as you can see, an amazing collection of books that he's been putting together. And seeing him going back and forth with Giada Salai, if I'm not butchering her name, as we segue into, you know, some of the, you know, books and stuff, awesome foreign editions that, you know, she has. It's just so cool to see just accentuated the foreign aspect of Hail to Stephen King. Jumping over to Liam Philbin and just the journey that is going on there, so very awesome. A little bit from Brian O'Sullivan. You know, this dude is a, you know, strong part of the Hail to Stephen King community, and so very glad to see just you know, some of the love coming there, some of the support. And then Nick Oakes. What can I say about Nick Oakes and just the constant bond of music and Sai King that him and I share? We Facebook message from time to time, and we're like, hey, have you listened to this? Have you seen this? We talk local age. It's super awesome. Then just a little bit that you're seeing from Consuela, and the fact that, you know, she's had palaver with me many times asking, you know, what Sai King should I read after this? You know, where does this connect? And so on and so forth. And it just accentuates even more so the awesomeness that we get from the just palaver that we all share. And, you know, segueing more so, we've got Jeroen Cienstra. I'm totally not trying to butcher any names. You definitely see what we got there. Much support and much love that way. We've got Curtis Rodrigue, and I know he's from up in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, just some of the items that we have there from him. We have J.P. Lovecraft, who has one of the coolest names ever. Another artiste, as we are here in the middle portion of some of the bits that we're having featured here on this 100th episode of Hail to Stephen King. You know, he has different horror icons there, but as you can see, you know, Sai King has a great many. Shout out to Ryan Goetz, and you're seeing his bookshelf right here. He's been a strong proponent of not just Hail to Stephen King, but the horror show in general, much like Mr. Scott Baker, as you're seeing right here. He's been a follower of the show long before I was even doing Hail to Stephen King, if I'm not mistaken. We're friends on Facebook, super cool guy, tons of insight, good fan of solid music and, you know, metal and rock and all that stuff as well. Now, I do one more shout out to Chuck Williams. Chuck Williams has a very cool collection of books there. As you can see, much love to you, Chuck, and thanks very much for the contribution here. It is so very much appreciated. Thankee Sai. Then I'm getting to one of the few who really took on just the impression of how much I love seeing the foreign editions of Mr. Ronnie Martin's, as you're seeing right here. And he posted this great collection of all the different stuff that you see before you. And I love these foreign editions because in some cases the covers are so much more badass. Just like you see from Jesper Nielsen. And I've always wanted to name a child Jesper because of the fact that, like, you know, Jesper Stromblad is like my favorite guitarist like ever, probably. He was in Flames for a long time, and yeah, he's done many projects after that. And, you know, from The Running Man, as you just saw, to Christine right now, I mean, these foreign editions are super cool. You see a little bit from Dominic here as well. And then to jump over to an email that I actually got here in just a second, and this was from none other than, well, it was multiple names. It's Andrej, known on YouTube as Nitrama Dardut, but, you know, Rotoplex also, you know, a very cool, you know, just collection of a few things here. And then jumping over to Mr. Mason Bouliard, who has reached out to me on Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, I know he's a big fan of some of the pop punk and stuff that I grew up with and that I enjoyed very much. And so yeah, awesome stuff there. Quick shout out to RJ Price. Listens to me while he's running around slanging food, man. And I've been in a similar boat, you know, doing deliveries and catering and things like that many years ago. And so I'm glad that you take time out of your day as you're doing all of that romping around to listen and to share. And it's just so very cool, man, that you actually, you know, just that I get to be in your ears when that's transpiring. And yeah, so we're gonna jump into a little bit of Tattoo Love from my buddy Brandon from Jerks Productions. I was thinking there was going to be more peeps that were showing, the fact that they had some Stephen King ink, but, Brandon really set the precedent with this awesome bit of Pennywise era Tim Curry, and so very cool. And now I'm going to jump to my UK buddies, and my UK buddies, she's just getting into it, so, Miss King, shout out to you. You are supremely awesome, but I really got to reference Mark James Pearson being another James and whatnot. Congrats on the expecting youngster and passing along your lifeline, sir. That is awesome. But he's been a super supporter of the horror show and of this particular program, and man, if I get to the UK, buddy, we are most definitely sharing a pint, and hopefully, if possible, we will be doing it with Jacob Buddy Douse. He is one of the most prolific posters on Hail to Stephen King, as you can see. Just look at this book collection, man. It is intense, and I don't even think he's read everything Sai King quite yet, but he's working on this composition of some of the books that he loves from Sai King, and then, he's got, the Joe Hill signed stuff is super cool. So he's one of my, that doesn't take anything away from everybody else here, but Jacob is one of my absolute favorites here on Hail to Stephen King. And then if we're going to jump into some video flavor, so from CK2D, as she is known on the YouTubies, but, Karina, she has, as you're seeing right here, maybe my most envious bit of stuff.
This is my pride and joy. According to Wikipedia, this book was published on September 29th, 1980. First edition. Dust cover's a little beat up. There's a little bit on some of the edges, but for the most part, the book is in great condition.
Because this signed copy of Firestarter, signed on my birthday, no less, the day before Sai King's birthday, 3 years before I came into this world, is absolutely amazing. It just blows my mind with its awesomeness, and yeah, I just cannot sing the praises there enough. But I saved, at least for me, the most important for last, because she is the lady in my life, and she is an amazing woman that I actually met through this program. I started this group back in March, but after I started it, I didn't really do very much with it because it was super busy. We were in convention season, we were in film festival season, so I had the Phoenix Film Festival, we had Phoenix Comic-Con, we were gearing up for Mad Monster. It was just it's one of the busiest times of the year for us. But so in late June was when I started really gearing on this program, and that's when I got acquainted with Eva Lily. And Eva Lily is the amazing artist that I am going to toss things over to right now, because she actually prepared a little 3-minute video showcasing some of the art that she has done thus far that is inspired by Sai King. So I'm going to do a little Scooby-Dooey, and we're going to go...
Hi guys! Eva Lily here. Just wanted to extend a huge congratulations to Jaime and Fuego for his 100th episode of Hail to Stephen King. I've currently been a fan for about 7 months now. Something that I could listen to in the car, back and forth between rehearsals. Just a little background about me. I am an artist in Colorado. I'm also an engineer, and I'm starring in a musical right now. So, back and forth with all the car rides and whatnot, it was a fantastic thing to listen to while I'm making all those miles. I am a big Sai King fan. I've been reading Sai King since 2010. I currently have started working on my drawing of the 3, which this is my first piece of the drawing of the 3. It's called The Prisoner. It obviously encapsulates Eddie's addiction to heroin, and it is made with all my drawings are made with pencil, ink, and then watercolor marker. Next, I have the Lady of the Shadows, which obviously still needs some more work. I'm in the progress of coloring it all, but it's, you know, it's my own artist interpretation. I'm pretty happy with it. Then next, I have Death. And Death is awesome. I do want to add some sugar skull aspects to the skull. Also, being a raised Catholic, you know, I do want to add a Mary candle to the whole mix. And the biggest piece that I worked on, it's about 2 feet by 1.5 feet. This is the rough draft to the tower. And I would like to personally unveil the tower that I drew for Jaime and Fuego on this 100th episode. It's not done, so just understand that I do need to add a background to it. But I am very proud of this work. It, like I said, it's 1.5 by 2 feet. It's basically just expresses, you know, a lot of things from the book. I have Marilyn's rainbow. Obviously, the black orb is not pictured here because it is inside the tower. Down here, I have a Wind Through the Keyhole, which I highly recommend to anyone that has not read it. It's Dark Tower 4.5, so you do need to read the first 4 books before you get to it. It's only about 306 pages, and I read it in 2 days, so you guys can do it too. And then down here, I have my Sandal Grip revolver and my throwback to the stand, because everybody knows that Flag likes to take the shape of a crow. But anyways, I wanted to unveil this, especially to all my friends in the Hail to Stephen King Facebook. And I hope you guys have a great day, and this shit's awesome, because like I said, I mean, I'm so proud of Jaime and Fuego for achieving this, getting to his 100th episode. Thank you so much, and if you guys have any questions about my artwork, definitely hit me up on my Facebook page. Love you guys. Peace.
She's the best, right? She truly is. She's awesome, and she is very devout and just passionate about her Sai King stuff, and that's just one of many things, you know, that brought us together. But love of Sai King is why all of us are here. El Rey, as I so affectionately call him. And before I hand it over to the live broadcast, which was taped hereafter, I have to just run through a list, and it's not all 200 plus of us, but it's at least in the last month the people who were posting prolifically, commenting prolifically. Obviously, Eva Lilly, we've got Brian O'Sullivan, we've got Ronnie Martins, we've got Chuck Williams, we have Steve Engel, we have Jim Hahn, we have Steve Johnson, we have Malito Pietro, we have Chuck Williams, we have Laura Garrity, I hope I'm not butchering it, I'm sorry, girl. We've got JP Lovecraft, we have Anev, we have Brandon, we have Cody Neil Wilson, we have Mikey Trauma Trash Elric. I love you, man. You are like my funniest and most awesome poster on the channel. We have Dominic Krike, we've got Andrew Thompson, super shout out to him. Jacob, Buddy, Douse, you are the rad status dude. We have Shane, we have Horton, Shane Murderbug Horton, if I don't F it up. We've got Philip Barletto the third, we have Corin, we have Corin Kellum, I should say. We have Stephen Johnson. Shout out once again to you, good sir. And I think I've shouted you out twice now that I think about it. We have Daniel Palat. We have David Leckie. We have RJ Price. Once again, shout out to you. We have Adriana Barretta and Haley Berg. We have Sherry. We have Joshua Pruitt, we have Rebecca King, yes, in the UK. We have Shane, we have Britt Rugg in New Jersey. We have Consuela Perry, we have Diane Talent and her son Ian Edward Olson, who got her into this group, which is awesome. We have DTG, we have Brooke Rogers, my Arizona homegirl. We've got Cacao Cruz, we have Austin Matulka, we have Ryan Goetz once again. We have Louis Sitzma, I hope I'm not butchering it, I'm so sorry. We have Jim Connor. We have Carol McDonald, we have Joaquin Oliveira, we have Garrett Kirby, we have Samantha, yes, from up in Canada, my supernatural homegirl. We've got Franz Mohart, we have Ian Lovecraft, also here in the Arizona area, at least if I'm not mistaken. We have Pepe Silvia, we have Julie Bruner, we have Chris Harsad, we have Samuel Glass in Vegas, we've got Lamont, much love to you, sir. Rob, my dude, Rubber Soul, I really hope that you get out to the live festivities, man. We have Sabrina Rose, we have Sam Butterfield, he was a big time commenter, love that guy. We've got Grant Shelton, we have my homegirl Tara Bear, that's right, who I worked with for many moons. We have Nick Oakes, What have I said that has not been said already, man? Ronnie Martins, we have James, Jeroen, Sensor, as I mentioned earlier. We have Dominic, we have Jesper. We have an amazing crew of people here. And before I toss it over to the live show, I'm going to extend one more grande gracias to all of you. Let's make it 100 more. Let's get this Facebook growing even more so. And I would not be here without all of you. So much love. And let's see what the live program has to do, shall we? Long days and pleasant nights, fellow travelers along the path of the beam. I am known on this level of the tower as Jaime and Fuego. And if it please you, join me here for... That's right, triple digits, y'all. The 100th episode of Hail to Stephen King. That's right. And unfortunately, couldn't go live with this on the Horror Show YouTube channel, which is where we would have preferred. However, we will most definitely be rocking things proper here on the Facebook page, and hopefully we will have an interesting crew of peeps that are jumping in and joining here for the 100th episode discussion. So, just to give you a little bit of a track record about this particular program, I am known on this level of the tower as Jaime and Fuego, and if it please ya, I hope that we have some very nice palaver here for the 100th episode, but check it, peeps. So, little under 2 years ago, I had this idea that my favorite author, Sai King, or El Rey, as I so affectionately call him at times, I basically wanted to do a tribute to him, and it was a video that I entitled Why You Should Read Stephen King. And so that particular video, even though I wasn't necessarily cognizant of it at the particular time, I definitely had just this idea in my head that it was almost like a backdoor pilot of sorts, which is like industry terms for where you test the waters for what you would like to be doing. And then as you test the waters for what you would like to be doing, based on the response, you essentially, do you see what the response is? And then if it's positive, you just kind of rock with that shizzle. And as I clear my voice, I got a very good response to that particular video about why I felt peeps should read Sai King. And in turn, it went from that to a couple videos in early 2017 where I did some like lost short stories that had never been collected, and then in turn following that, I did a Shining anniversary. But it really, like, the show found its footing proper when I did a first read, and then I went on to doing like top 3 books and least favorite books, and then in the course of the last nearly 2 years, I have basically hit 100 episodes, and I have covered so many different topics, from favorite short stories, favorite novellas. I've done many anniversary bits of coverage. We've done some stuff at the Phoenix Comic-Con, which is now called the Phoenix Fan Fest, which is now called Phoenix Fan Fusion. It's just a silly bit of stuff. But yeah, so it's... Boy, it's been quite the journey, I must say. And I'm going to give a shout out to Mason, or Mason. I'm so terrible with pronunciations, brother. Your bit is going to be on the corresponding YouTube video that is going to be hitting. So very, very stoked about that. But yeah, I have to say that in all of the different topics that I've covered, whether it was anniversary things, whether it was favorites, least favorites, a series that I really want to get back to at some particular point is films that forgot the face of their father, and that's where I did stuff like Return to Salem's Lot, I did Pet Sematary 2, I did, oh goodness, what else? I did the Sometimes They Come Back sequels. The only stuff that I have not done was the Children of the Corn sequels, because of the fact that myself and Marsha Parker and Cecil Laird have intentions of doing all of those, and a couple others that I have yet to do are the Mangler sequels, because that being kind of a pseudo-creature thing of sorts, that's something that Cecil and I plan on doing ourselves as well. So yeah, this is a retrospective and a particular look back of just all of the stuff that I've done with this program, and then also it's an AMA. So if there's anything that you peeps who are watching want to ask, just chime in at any particular point. We're also going to be doing some questions at the end, and those are going to be for right as we have up here without me knocking off my precious little shinning peoples right there, which are some awesome pops that I have. So we're also going to be doing a... Well, this couldn't have gone any better live, right, guys? But, yeah, we're going to be debuting a brand new set for the... Oh, man, come on, Pennywise. Work with me here, homie. We're going to be debuting a brand new set for Hail to Stephen King, episode 101. And as I look at those pops there, I actually have to give a shout out to Marsha Parker because Mr. Gray there, Mr. Pennywise, he is actually somebody who, he kind of started off this pop collection of sorts. But at the very end, we're going to be doing some questions for Coexist shirts, which is something that I did early on in the Hail to Stephen King days when I was picking particular questions from peeps and stuff like that. So, I'm going to, just so I have everything primed and ready, I'm going to jump on right now and make sure that I have this live feed actually going here. And, yes, I can properly tune in as things are transpiring here. So one thing that's fun about doing these live stream section things is that it's tough to do both the monitoring and the looking at the very same time. But yeah, since I have the ability, I'm gonna scooch in. All right, so shout outs to obviously Mesa, as I mentioned. Yep, and he was indeed the first one that I said. We've got Britt Rogan here. What is up, girl? She is a member of Hail to Stephen King as well. Cody has a badass program, or I should say, full-on film that he is working on right now called Voorhees. So shout out to him as well. But guys. So if you have any questions pertaining to Stephen King, I'm going to be answering those at any particular time as you throw those out. But, just to kind of reflect upon past videos and things about this program that I've really enjoyed as time has gone on, my top three, which are actually all the same, my top three Stephen King movie adaptations / television, miniseries, whatever they may be, adaptations, as well as my three favorite novels. That was definitely a video that I enjoyed the hell out of doing. Another one, though, was where I talked about my two least favorite King adaptations / books, and I got a lot of flack for one in particular. The other one is a post-accident book that I think a lot of people rightfully, they kind of backed me on, but, there's still, art is subjective, as I always like to say, and so differing opinions are totally understandable, and there is nothing wrong with that. But, I got to give a shout-out to Scott Baker, who also just joined. He has been a longtime supporter of Hail to Stephen King as well, so shout-out to him. And anybody who is a member of the Hail to Stephen King Facebook group who has been... That's actually something that I would like to touch on really quickly as we're waiting for peeps to trickle in, because of the fact that... So, I started the Hail to Stephen King Facebook group in March, okay? And there was just the people that I had added, one of which was Cecil Laird as well. Co-producer on the horror show, he's the showrunner, he is the show creator, along with, producer Dave. And I definitely, first and foremost, have to give a big thanks to the two of them for not only bringing me on to the horror show and allowing me to be a part of that crew, but also to have an outlet to put this program on, because I don't necessarily think that it would have seen the type of views and the type of growth that it has, if not for the fact that I just had that outlet with which to present things. And we also got really lucky because of the fact that last year was one of the biggest years for Sai King ever. And so I think that definitely had something to do with the fact that, this program exploded when it did. Because, hey, we'll be honest, there's certain videos that don't get the kind of views that other videos do. The most viewed Hail to Stephen King video at this point, and I know it's well over 20K, it's in the 20-something thousand range. It's basically Castle Rock and the expanded Stephen King universe, which is something that we have had the chance to, not so much on the Castle Rock show. Y'all know my thoughts about that, and we can talk about that if anybody wants to ask a question at some particular point. But that was where I delved into how so many of his stories interlock and the cool aspect that all of that entails. And so as that basically just found more traction, and as, unfortunately it was kind of 50-50 for Sai King last year, whereas we had amazing things like 1922, and the Mr. Mercedes series was damn good. There was also things like the Miss TV series that, while I hated initially, upon viewing it in its entirety, I actually found merit in it, but there's total turrets, like the Dark Tower movie, which I am still crying in my proverbial Cheerios about. There is one other that is eluding me, and, oh yes, Gerald's Game, which was also amazing. And so, 2017 was the return of the king, as I think I called it in many ways. And so I guess I started the program at an opportune time for it to really, gain traction and, find the footing that it needed to have. But it's been very cool, and that's a video that has done very well for us, and it's one that I've enjoyed the hell out of. So jumping and reading some comments real quick. So we have Britt Rugg saying that she is watching Maximum Overdrive as we speak, which is about to receive a special edition from, I can't remember if it's Scream Factory or if it's Twilight Time. It's one of those essentially. But, and then we have Mason saying, will you ever do a top 10 favorite King books? Will I ever do a top 10? That's actually a really good question, especially since I did a top 3, and it's really, the top 3 have never wavered in my Stephen King, just ethos and, theories and things like that, and just the way that I feel. And at this point, unless something really blows me away and wows the hell out of me, I don't necessarily think that those top 3 will ever change, and there's a video where you guys can check that out. But a top 10 would be a lot more interesting, because that would in turn employ some stuff that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think would be on a tops list for me. But I guess it has to happen at this particular point, because when you're doing a show twice a week and you're at over 100 episodes, I still have lots and lots of ideas, for future segments. So don't worry that the loss of coverage is going to transpire. I actually saw somebody, RJ Price was mentioning that at one particular point, and he was like, dude, I cannot even fathom when this program comes to an end, because it's going to break my heart so much. And I'm like, well, with all the bits of anniversary coverage, whether it's books, whether it's films, whether it's TV series, King is still very prolifically publishing, which is cool. And so I don't necessarily think that I'm going to run out of ideas anytime soon, especially with things like films that forgot the face of their father. And I still have tons and tons and tons of backlog questions from all of the different Hail to Stephen King viewers, whether it's from the Hail to Stephen King Facebook group or whether it's from comments on the YouTube videos. So, I think we're going to be just fine when it comes to that. But what else do we have on here? I've got Chad O'Reilly DeHobo. He's giving me a thumbs up. Thanks very much, Jared. So somebody who is relatively new to the Hail to Stephen King group, at least in the contrast of things, Britt Rugg is asking, how do you like the latest Castle Rock episode? Well, the latest Castle Rock episode, I think I posted, if I recall correctly, a link to what Freddy in Space on Bloody Disgusting said about that. And I could not agree more in the fact that, so he was basically talking about how, as opposed to asking more and more and more and more questions, which is what we're getting with Castle Rock at this particular point, that it would be nice if episodes actually gave us answers, and I've been watching it with Lily since it started, and it's, I don't know, I liked the first episode a hell of a lot, the pilot was dope, but then I feel like it's an Easter egg, nod and wink kind of thing. People are tweeting at me constantly, hey, do you think this is connected with this, or this is connected with this? The guy who did just the first scene where Georgie gets killed, okay? So his name is Vince Rush. Please seek him out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. He is an amazing artist, and he did this great black and white comic book where he just did a killer job of Georgie getting killed. And he tweets me the other day, and he's like, hey man, did you notice that Henry Deaver had his incident 1991, and this is 2008, and it's 27 years later? And I'm just like, honestly, I don't think there's any bearing to that. I think it's essentially just another one of those little nod, wink, Easter egg things, and much like everything else, it's not going to amount to anything significant. It's not, I don't foresee a dairy connection, is basically what I'm going to say. And, I enjoyed finally having something for Jackie Torrance in the episode, because I think the girl from Don't Breathe and from the Evil Dead remake is a damn good actress, but she's been terribly underutilized. I feel like most of the characters are boring and half-baked and undeveloped, just like a lot of these connective ideas. So unless they go full Fergan Niner on these last 2 episodes, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of things that just never get answered. And a lot of people continue to compare Castle Rock to Lost. I've never watched Lost, so I can't really give any insight with regards to that. But another J.J. Abrams program, obviously, and so since I don't have that basis of comparison, I can't say anything beyond what people like Marsha Parker and Cecil have told me, which is where the predominance of the fun in that program was just the speculating and the theorizing, and yet so much of what people thought was possibly the case didn't end up amounting to anything. So, the new episode was violent, and I don't know, the most compelling characters, 2 of which being Ruth and Pangborn. We know what's up with Pangborn now without spoiling anything, so that's kind of a bummer. And then, I don't like Deaver or his girlfriend going back. She's not very compelling for me. Jackie Torrance, underutilized, not too much really intriguing going on there. I think the MVP of the show is definitely Pennywise. It's definitely the Skarsgård kid, or the kid as he's known now on IMDb, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know. The show has once again, I think of it as for me, it's essentially like people in the playground of Stephen King playing with the sand and the toys and stuff like that, but yet they didn't build the sandbox. They don't know, they don't know the coolest spot for one particular toy where the sand is deeper. I don't know. This analogy is going nowhere, unfortunately, but that's for the sheer fact that I feel like the show has gone nowhere, and unless they really knock it home in the next couple episodes, there's really not going to be much else to discuss. So, lo and behold, we have Mr. Blue from Cemetery Dance. I got to give this gentleman a big-time shout-out because of the fact that there really wouldn't be the type of fandom that I have about Stephen King if not for just amazing publishers like Cemetery Dance, and also, shout-out to PS and Subterranean and just anybody who does these Stephen King deluxe editions. But I do indeed think that the absolute top proprietors of them are Cemetery Dance. That's why I'm waiting on my Sleeping Beauties. That's why I am anxiously anticipating any announcement about The Stand. I would imagine that it's coming at some particular point soon. But yeah, Night Shift is on pre-order as well. And yeah, you can see hiding behind my proverbial celebratory champagne up there, Fright or Flight, I should say, which is awesome and is a great new collection that was put together by Bev Vincent and by Stephen King. But I cannot speak their praises enough, and my shelf is full of all kinds of Cemetery Dance awesomeness. Let us never speak of the Dark Tower movie again, is what Blue says, and yeah, I most definitely agree. I'm really curious, though, Blue, if they are going to go through, dude, with this Amazon reimagining Young Roland, whatever, because as I've said on this program countless times in the few years that I've been doing it, I adore the Young Roland storytelling. It's something that I've talked with Lily about a lot, and so that's why Wizard and Glass is my particular favorite in the Dark Tower canon. That's why I love The Wind Through the Keyhole so much, That's why I, obviously adore the youthful storytelling in the Gunslinger, and why I love the comic book so much as well. But yeah, I don't know. It needs to be full-on reboot at this point. I still will never take anything away from Idris Elba, but that was bad casting, in my opinion. I guess it is another, kind of Twinnyverse, I don't know. The King multiverse is basically the way that I'm trying to look at the Castle Rock show, as I've said, where this isn't my Castle Rock from the books. This is a similar mirroring Castle Rock where, Pangborn wasn't in love with Polly. Pangborn, he was pining for Ruth the entire damn time or whatever. And so there's still going to be lots of similarities, That's one cool thing about, the way King has constructed his multiverse is the fact that there's all of these, mirroring kind of similar dimensions where you have pretty much most, if not all, of the same characters, but there's just certain dynamics that are different. And so that's the way that I tried to view The Mist. That's the way that I currently view Castle Rock. And I guess at the end of the day, that's the way I try to view the Dark Tower movie, but yeah, I don't know. So I'm gonna see what else is to be said. Scott has something to say. I got something to say. Bum, bum. I enjoyed all of them, but Gerald's Game was my favorite. Phenomenal adaptation. Yeah, it's actually very interesting because I have to say that personal faves for me last year were probably Gerald's Game and 1922. Both of the things that were done for Netflix, and then Mr. Mercedes being another that I thought the casting of Gleason was spot on and really, really badass. But yeah, I mean, Thomas Jane, anytime Thomas Jane, whether it's The Mist or 22, he just brings it like a mofo, dude, anytime he's in a King adaptation, and he was just phenomenal in 1922. And yeah, Gerald's Game, I mean, you can't say enough about the performance of Gugino. She brought thunder to a unfilmable book, according to so many people, but that's credit to Mike Flanagan. I'm very hopeful about what he's going to do with Dr. Sleep, although I think the problem with Dr. Sleep for a lot of people is going to be the type of just vitriol that I've already seen on places like Killer Flicks, where people are like, there's a sequel to the Shining movie coming out, and blah, blah, blah. And, to the uninitiated, they're like, that doesn't need a sequel. And I saw it in the comments, and yet, thankfully, constant readers went to bat and were like, no, this is not a sequel to Stanley Kubrick's Shining film. This is a sequel, this is an adaptation of the sequel novel, and I mean, as you guys have seen, we have certain characters in particular, one most notably that was killed in The Shining that was not killed in the book, so Kubrick kills off this particular character without spoiling anything. This character lives in the book. They've already been cast for the Dr. Sleep film, so I have so much faith in Flanagan that he's going to do a damn good job. I'm very curious about the Ewan McGregor casting. I think that it intrigues me. I really like the young actress that they just cast as his little corresponding shinning, because I don't want to get sued, girl who the True Knot is after. And so, yeah, I think that that's going to be a damn good film, and I am incredibly, incredibly excited about it. So I'm going to see what else. Blue is just saying very, very nice things, as particularly always. So, yeah, shout out once again to the Cemetery Dance peeps. He says, I hope they do it. It can't be worse. Wizard and Glass is my favorite too. Perfect way to reboot by starting with young Roland and moving forward. Agreed. And, I mean, they could do it very similar to what they did with the comic books, where, just adapt the stuff with him in court and with him, using his hawk and, getting his guns and just all of that coolness. I think that, start at the beginning of the journey for Roland, and then who knows? I mean, I always felt like the television avenue was a much better location for anything Dark Tower, and in many ways, the more I think about it, unless it's a shorter novel like Gerald's Game, or unless it's, if you're adapting a short story or a novella or something like that, I think that the film realm works good, but as dense as Sai King stuff is, you really, really need long form for it, and particularly something like a streaming service or a premium cable, because you can't pull any punches, man. You can't hold anything back. So it has to be either an HBO, a Showtime, a Cinemax, or it has to be a Hulu or a Netflix or an Amazon, something like that. So yeah, I think that is in fact the way to go. Mason agrees. Where did you find the Cemetery Dance edition of it, and how much did you pay for it, if you don't mind asking? Well, I have been purchasing from Cemetery Dance for years and years and years and years, so I pre-ordered it before it ever came out, and I paid the cover price. I was one of those lucky ones that long before King came back into vogue and everything started getting supremely, nutty with his, with the fandom and the resurgence and the return of the King. As I mentioned, I was actually lucky enough to pay I think it was like $125 or something like that, plus shipping and handling, obviously. But yeah, that's that. I am very fortunate that I have paid, with the exception of the only one that I didn't pre-order and get upon its initial release was the first edition of the Secretary of Dreams. That I had to pay, beyond the cover price for. But everything else that you see seated on my shelf, whether it's Carrie, whether it's Salem's Lot, whether it's The Shining, Whether it's, oh boy, what else? I mean, I've got the Darkman down there. I've got Full Dark No Stars. I have Doctor Sleep. I mean, all of those, I just make sure to subscribe, I guess I should say, to the Cemetery Dance newsletter so that you get alerts about all of these different Sai King books when they are initially announced, because often they sell out in the pre-order process. And this is not me just trying to pimp the hell out of CD, but they are the Shiznito Band. So, yeah, that is what's up. Oh, shout out to my youngster brother, John Callahan. What is up, buddy? Him and the baby Callahan are not big Stephen King fans, but yes, I guess you all know my secret. My last name is Callahan. Jaime Fuego is just as I am known on this level of the tower, as I often say. So yeah, there's a particular reason why I have such an affinity for Salem's Lot and for Dark Tower 5, and I guess he's barely in, well, he's in a very crucial part of 6 in the beginning of 7. But yeah, Father Callahan, and it's actually funny because my dad is in fact a Bible teacher. Ha ha! So yes, that's some interesting insight for all of you. And Blue says he doesn't even have a copy of the CD version of it. Yeah, I've seen the despicable prices that is selling for now ever since, ever since that film went crazy popular. And you know, I'm gonna purport an unpopular opinion. I know it was Cecil Laird's favorite film, horror-wise, of last year. I really enjoyed it. However, I didn't love it. I was not somebody who just adored the hell out of it and thought it was like the best thing said. I still have that soft spot for Tim Curry. I have a soft spot for those who get riled on so very much. I really like the adult cast in it. Now, granted, in the miniseries, the kids are more strongly cast, especially the kid from Sequest, and I think, the kid who played Ben, man. I know I saw him in some of those other, I want to say he was in Heavyweights, if I'm not mistaken, but I thought the entire cast of kids were great, but I thought the entire cast of the adults were good too. I'm very curious what is going to transpire with Cary Fukunaga not having any input, because they still used a lot from his script in the one that Andy did, so I don't know. I'm curious. I have faith in Mr. Muccetti and his sister, because they did a great job with Mama, and you know, it's funny how we have the 3 big names in Chastain, and my dream casting for Bill ended up happening, which is crazy. When I did my video predicting who I would love to have for the adults, I went for McAvoy, man. I had to, and they ended up casting him, which was really nuts for me. Hader is cool, I guess, for Richie, and you know, if you're looking at the rest of the Adult Losers Club, they all look like older versions of their kid counterparts. So I guess that's cool. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with the parade bit, you know, because of the fact that they most definitely did some casting there, you know, which is the scene that basically opens up, you know, the book, which is kind of cool. And then there were some set photos leaked recently where they showed a certain big Bunyan kind of dude with his axe, and there's Skarsgård as Pennywise perched on his shoulder. So we know one particular bit from the book that is actually going to be happening, which is pretty dope. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't think it's going to crush in the same fashion that the previous one did, or maybe it will, you know, because whereas the other one came out of nowhere, this one people will be expecting, and so maybe the anticipation will be bigger. I guess I don't know. I really don't know. I'm waiting until we get to 19 viewers on here. That would actually be awesome. Got to give a shout out to Trump Trash Mike, man. Mike is the Shiznito Bam, and for the Hail to Stephen King group, Mike is consistently the most hilarious poster of different memes and, you know, gifs and bits like that. Shout out to him. Shout out to Consuela, who has been she actually put up a very funny, Pennywise, almost like twerking meme of sorts today on the Hail to Stephen King group. But yeah, she's been kind of having palaver with me about what books to read next and cool things like that. So big shout out to her. Big shout out to Philippe Barleto, I believe. Yeah, he's also a member of the Hail to Stephen King group, and so very, very happy. Hola, buenas tardes. I'm not sure what the time is where you are, good sir, but I'm going to see what Sherry Thompson, who is also a Hail to Stephen King lady. So she says, I know you said your top 3 shift, but what would be your Desert Island King pick if you could only have one? man, if I could only have one, that's not fair. I mean, I have a top 3. Everybody knows my top 3, but, gosh, you see, that's the thing. My top 3 shifts all the time, as I've mentioned, and I'm not going to mention what my top 3 are because that just might be a, well, you know what? I guess this is as good a time as any to give away a Coexist shirt. So, what are my top 3 Stephen King books? And the first person to name them here in the chat, make sure to private message me on Facebook, and yes, hit me with your address, and I will be sending you a Coexist shirt. So, the first person to hit me with that is going to be getting a Coexist shirt. So, yeah, fun. You know, I guess if I had to do one, it's Shiza. Yeah, you know, I guess I'm not going to answer that until somebody answers this particular trivia question. So, once again, yes, Consuelo, I'm glad you made it as well. Britt Rugg is on here. I really love both of the movies. Yeah, I really loved... I love the miniseries, and I really like the film. Let's just keep it at that. Mason says, did you see the Henry Bowers adult cast? You know, I did see it, and the funny thing is, they left it kind of vague at the end. If you're like, okay, is he going to be in it? Because I saw some people saying, oh, they killed off Bowers, and I'm like, no. Bowers is most definitely coming, and then when they announced, you know, the casting, and they announced it, I think, the same time as Adrian Mellon, and, you know, that's the parade scene that I was referencing that we know is going to happen. Blue says, did you see the pic from It 2 of Pennywise on Paul Bunyan? Yep, and I already mentioned that. That makes me, as I said, very excited that is actually going to be in the film. There's a couple adult beats that I'm really hoping make it in there, and yeah, since we're already getting, you know, the Adrian bit, which is exciting, you know, the Richie bit is awesome. So yeah, okay, we are jumping to Karina Killam, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is oh yes! Karina actually has a featured bit on the corresponding YouTube video, and I am her envy because she has something signed on the 20th of September, which is my birthday, yes, which is the day before Cy King's birthday, 1980. So 3 years before I came into existence. Yeah, you all know how old I am now. Ha. Yeah, there is a signed copy of Firestarter that you will all get to see in the corresponding YouTube video, which is dope status. So she says, couple pics, the one where he liked a demented Mary Poppins was awesome too. That one I'm not sure if I actually got to see. And you know, man, Mark James Pearson signing on at Ungodly Hours in the UK. I was actually going to make an announcement about this because I know you are 8 hours ahead of us here. So very happy you're at least poking in briefly, dude. He's a mad supporter of the horror show and has been for a long time. I was actually planning at 11:19 tomorrow, live on the Hail to Stephen King group, to do a corresponding bit for all of my homies in the UK, like Ms. King and yourself, and oh boy, I mean, buddy, like everybody who's on that side of the world. I was trying to give some proper love. It's okay, James. ASU are up 14 already. Yes, I know. That's why I'm not at the Arizona State football game, is because I had this awesomeness to take my attention away. So, all right, we got Consuelo there, and Consuelo says, thanks for the shout-out, Fuego. I've enjoyed discussing King with you and picking your brain. I am always happy to impart some insight, although I don't consider myself the be-all, end-all of King knowledge. That's probably like a Bev Vincent or, you know, Chismar or, you know, somebody else out there. But I am a passionate King enthusiast. Always. Okay, Britt Rugg is officially the winner of a Coexist shirt. Ba-bam! Yes, that's right. So shout out to you, girl. And make sure to private message me and hit me with your address, and I will get you this Coexist shirt. Yes, my top 3 are Pet Sematary, It, and The Stand. It really fluctuates based on which one I've read most recently, and I've read all of them in the last year. Again, reread, I should say. Boy, if I had to... I can't pick a Desert Island one. I really can't, because I love all 3 of those too much. I mean, I think Pet Sematary is the scariest. I think The Stand is the most epic, and I think It is the most heartfelt and like gets me in the feels more so than any other, because it really, especially as I get older, anytime I reread It makes me just makes me remember that I'm not as young as I used to be, and friends that I don't necessarily talk to or have that correspondence with anymore. And it's a sad melancholy. Yeah, it definitely hits you in the feels more so than any of the others. So I have to give a shout out to Andrew Thompson, who joined just a few minutes ago. Andrew is one of the most prolific Stephen King readers that I know on the Hail to Stephen King group. I know he is a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan, and he reads like 2, sometimes 3 different Sai King books at a time consistently as he goes through his journey along the path of the beam. So shout out to you, Andrew. You are such an awesome supporter and one of the most frequent posters on the Hail to Stephen King group. So much love to you, buddy. Yeah, Mason, you were so close, dude. Britt beat you, man. Sorry about that. Yep, as he just said it as well. Pet Cemetery, The Stand, and John Callahan, I gave you a shout out, little bro. Much love to you, man. Much, 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 much love. Yep, Scott almost got it too, just like Mark almost got it. Mark has actually sported a horror show shirt on his Facebook before. He had this recent birthday where his awesome lady, who, congrats about the expecting little one, good sir. He just had this full-on spread of like badass-looking cupcakes that she made him and books, and so yeah, he has very similar to me, a lady that just understands an appreciation for the king, which is awesome. Yep, Sherry almost got it. John Callahan says, "Boo." All right. I hope for the bar flashback in It Part 2. Oh yeah, obviously. Well, I am definitely hopeful for some stuff with the black spot actually being shown in the new film, and I think it'll happen. Yeah, I truly do, and I think Dick, which is some connective tissue with The Shining, I should say. I hope Howard makes an appearance. I think that would be super rad. Okay, miss you, brother. Good show. Bad tie. Bad tie? Hey, screw you, sir. I love this tie. I was trying to go for like blood and black kind of thing. But anyway, yes, so excited. Yes, congrats to you, Britt. Okay, so I'm reading Sebastian, and it says, congratulations for the 100 episodes, Jaime. I love your videos, man. I'm a fan from Chile. I hope to see 100 more episodes in the future. Long life to the king and to you, Señor Fuego. Gracias, and thank you so very much, good sir. And then I have Karina saying, yep, the hanging in the air photos is in that article. Oh, okay. But, so, where should we go from here? Yeah, I guess, if anybody has another question that you want to pose here. Otherwise, I want to give away a few more Coexist shirts here. So if there aren't any more questions that start trickling through from the masses, I will start asking a few additional questions. So, you know what? Let's just run right into it. I actually did a video about this. So anybody who's been watching the program for a while, you will probably know this. What is the one book that Sai King regrets writing? What is the book that Sai King regrets writing? Say in the comments below. If you were the first to make mention of it, you get a Coexist shirt, and I will mail it to your doorstep. And I see Blue is saying something else. What's your Holy Grail King book for your collection? Obviously, it's It, bro. I mean, it's the most valuable of all of them. But boy, I gotta say, I really like the 2 Secretary of Dreams for the sheer fact that and this isn't just a CD shout out, whatever kind of thing. I love illustrated editions, which is why I love anything that Subterranean and CD and PS and stuff have put out. But for me, some of the scariest stuff that King has done is short stories. Like, I love the illustrations that Glenn did for Green Matter and for Jerusalem's Lot, and I mean, so yeah. If I was gonna say, even though they're not the most valuable, my personal prize in the collection is anything that Glenn has illustrated. So yeah, it's probably the 2 volumes of Secretary of Dreams, and I'm hoping for a 3rd one. Tell Chiz to get going on that, man. If you have any say or input. Okay, all right. So Josh Gearhart, yes, that's right, man. He said Rage, and that is indeed the book that Stephen King regrets writing, which is why it was taken out of further pressings of the Bachman books. So, Josh, make sure to private message me here on Facebook so that you can get your own Coexist shirt. Now, if you don't happen to win one of these, I have to give the shameless plug right now. Us at the Horror Show have a TeePublic site where you can order the Coexist shirt. You can do horror show shirts. We also have lots of other recommended designs from other horror-centric artists and stuff like that that we dig. But the one thing that you will not see on those particular shirts is the official, like, these are official crew shirts that we have sold at Comic-Cons and, Mad Monster, things like that. So, yep, Scott, once again, so very close, good sir. So very close. All right, favorite male character and favorite female character. Well, Sherry, I actually did a video about my favorite Sai King character of all time, and, since I can't go too crazy on the shirts, I was planning on giving out, sadly, not 19 of them, but my favorite character, male character, that King has ever written is definitely Larry Underwood. Larry Underwood is somebody who is he's a flawed protagonist. He's somebody, spoilers, who lays down his life for the cause and spends a good portion of the stand trying his damnedest to redeem himself. He struggles with personal demons and things like that, but he is very good at his core and always trying to do the right thing, and I respect the hell out of that for the fact that, he just constantly strived to better himself despite his shortcomings as a person. If I was going to go number 2, it'd definitely be Wireman. Yeah, Wireman from Doomy. Love Doomy, and Wireman is one of the most amusingly written characters for me in the entire King pantheon, and he's also another guy who has gone through, just pain and heartache and stuff like that, and yet really, really funny and witty and loyal, which is another thing that I really, really try to exude. If I'm going to go female character, that's tough. Lisi's definitely got to be up there. Rose from Rose Matter. That's tough, guys. I don't know. Maybe, I'd say probably Ms. Delgado. Yeah, and just her undying love and her devotion, I must say. Although Rose the Hat is a pretty scary bitch. I don't know. She's fascinating to me. I don't know. She is cold-blooded, bloodthirsty. Love her, love her, love her. She is awesome, and I cannot wait to see her put to screen. Mason was close with Rage. Sarah was close with Rage. What is the best Stephen King ending, says Mason. Best Stephen King ending. There's some people who think Stephen King endings tend to meander, not hit the way that they should. It honestly might be from a short story because of the fact that I love when things end with a punch, and I love twist endings especially, and you see those more so with the short stories than anything else from King. I would struggle not to say it because of the fact that when you realize that Bill has memories already fading of his friends and just the imminent melancholy of that is so tough to deal with. I love the end of Gray Matter, which I mentioned already. I love the end of Jerusalem's Lot, where the new guy moving into the house, and into the Marsden house. He hears the rats in the wall. That's good. It's tough, y'all. It's really tough, but that's at least a few off the top of my head that I think are really badass. I got comments from people nearly every time I wore my Coexist shirt. Oh yes, Karina does in fact have one. That is awesome. I think I sent one to you, if I remember correctly, because I chose one of your... Yes! Josh Wireman is the Shiznito Bam. Yes, Bevy from the Levy, she's definitely up there. She is up there, but I don't know if she would be one of my personal favorites. Yep, Andrew says Underwood is a good character. Damn right he is. I gotta give a shout to Nick Oakes. Nick Oakes from the northwestern United States, a fellow hard rock grunge fan of mine, and yes, we are kindred spirits whether it comes to King, music, what have you, and he is also a very just prominent person in the realm of the Hail to Stephen King Facebook group, so big time shout out to him, obviously. The best ending isn't Under the Dome, says Mr. Barleto III. Yeah, I definitely Yes, we've got meth labs exploding and all kinds of craziness. And it's funny because Lily has been watching she's up to the 3rd season now of Under the Dome. I quit after 1. I've heard that 2 is amusing enough, but tolerable. And then when I hear about how much of a man-whore Barbie becomes in season 3 and everything, and I'm just like, that wasn't in the books. And, there's people getting in and out of the dome and all this craziness. That was a show that I don't know, guys. It just did not do it for me. Under the Dome did not do it for me. Under the Dome was the epitome of when Sai King adaptations were... I think there was a real dry spell for a while, guys, when we had stuff like Kingdom Hospital, when we had stuff like Rose Red. Even while they're okay from what I've seen, I haven't watched a lot of the Dead Zone TV series or the Haven TV series. I've heard those are better than some of the other ones that I mentioned, but I don't know. I feel like after Storm of the Century, for a while, whether it was film adaptations or TV adaptations, we are really spoiled right now when it comes to Sai King. We are genuinely spoiled in the quality of adaptations that we have gotten in certain cases recently. I mean, it just... Count your blessings, y'all. Count yourselves lucky that we are in this Stephen King-assance, as I like to call it, because the Stephen King-assance is still in full gear. Although some of the adaptations, whereas there's, like Dr. Sleep that I'm so excited about, I'm stoked they're finally adapting The Long Walk, although we'll see if it actually ends up transpiring. I'm very curious what the Starry Eye guys are going to do with this remake of Pet Sematary, because I really like the cast, or at least I really liked the cast until they announced who was playing Zelda. And then I was just like, I don't know, that guy creeped the fuck out of me when I was younger and when I was older still, so... I don't know, the fact that they're going for age appropriate and whatnot, but I love Lithgow as Judd. I think that's awesome casting. I like Clark. I like the dude who is playing the new Lewis. I'm down with that. So those are the 2 key components in my opinion. Everything else is slightly subjective, but we also have stuff like the weird. The new version of Cujo that they're working on that sounds so so incredibly stoops. I don't even know what it's like. It's like covert, some... I don't know. It's, Cujo is being turned into an acronym. Let's just leave it at that. And it's like dogs having experiments done on them or some sort of craziness. I don't know. Let's see what else peeps have to say. The Jaunt is one of the best endings. Yes, The Jaunt is a great ending. I would also say that another sci-fi... goodness. It's also in Night Shift. Why is it eluding me? The one with the eyes in his hands, and I feel like such a dunce for not knowing this one off the top of my head. I'm going to consult, because I don't want to be an idiot, since I am the host of this program, right? I mean, it's right there on... This is one of the first Sai King books that I ever bought. Bought this for $1, and I don't know if you guys can see, but, yeah, that was written in the book when I got it. I get this for, $2. And I open that up and I see Demon Within written, and I'm just like, what? I am the doorway. I am the dumbass for not knowing I am the doorway. As much as I love that book, I'm just going to leave that on my lap. But, yes, I am the doorway. Killer ending there as well. Yes, Nick, absolutely, dude. They nodded. 11/22/63. Andrew, you were so right, dude. If I recall correctly, that's your favorite. I think that is your favorite Stephen King book, if I recall correctly. Some people think that spoilers, he should have got Sadie, but we won't spell much beyond that. I felt like they tackled that ending really, really good in the TV series, honestly, on Hulu. That's actually one where, despite Bill the Foil, the ad character for the series, I thought that 11/22 was very well done, especially the end of it, and it made me tear up, and it made me sad. Yes, it really, really did. All right, Consuela says, more recently, I would say The Outsider had a really good ending. That's one that I would disagree with, actually. The ending of The Outsider, for me, felt too much like, we're going to the lair of the bad guy, which we saw in It, which we saw in Insomnia, which we saw in Doomickey, and various others. So, that book was good from beginning to end, actually, for me. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed most of it. Yes, Outsider Rock for sure, says Karina. Philip Barletta III says, please don't spoil Outsider. I just hit page 350. Well, they confront the bad guy, whoever the bad guy may be. I'm not spoiling anything beyond that. I don't plan on spoiling, okay? Speaking of adaptations, around the beginning of this year, King hinted a possible animated adaptation. What are your 2 to 3 you'd like to see in that form? Boy, in an animated form? Honestly, I think The Dark Tower could work animated. I think that if they did it in a Japanese animation style, very similar to what we saw with Jaime in the comic book, I think that would be incredible. I think you could do The Talisman animated, and that would be the Shiznitobam as well. That could be really, really dope. You could do The Talisman and Black House. You could do both of those. Also, Eyes of the Dragon, I think being a fantasy book would lend itself very well to animation. You could do The Stand animated. They never would. They're doing that one for the CBS whatever network. It's basically the premium pay service for CBS is where they're saying The Stand is supposedly going to be ending up when the adaptation, the new one, finally hits. So as opposed to 4 episodes, it's going to be like 10 to 12, or so they're saying. But yeah, those are a few that I would love to see animated. Anything fantasy based that King has touched upon, I think would be really, really cool. Or hell, do something almost in the vein of Waking Life. Hear me out. Do something Waking Life themed, but basically have Stephen King reading passages from On Writing, and then do that where you film him talking, and then you paint over Waking Life style and Scanner Darkly style. That would be the shit. That would be awesome. Who's with me? Who's with me? Who's coming with me, man? Who's coming with me, man? Jan. Thank you, Jan. Yeah. Okay. Philip says, amazing so far. Really can't put it down willingly. Yes, I really like The Outsider. I really, really did. One cool bit of information to impart, in case y'all didn't know, is that The Outsider is being developed currently by the same team behind Mr. Mercedes. And if you've read the Hodges trilogy and The Outsider, you know why that is the case. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Curtis Rodriguez here. What is up? Soaked was still live. Did I miss the giveaways? Well, Curtis, you missed a couple, but I am going to, since you asked right now, and I also got to give a shout out to Jim Hahn, who, sorry, I'm hopefully not mispronouncing your name, good sir. Jim is one of the most just rapid fire posters on Hail to Stephen King. He does an amazing amount of cool stuff. He's about to open his Stephen King bookstore. Yes, which was something that I thought about doing for years and then just never got around to doing it. So he has officially beat me to the punch. Mine was going to be more specific with King stuff, but yeah, he is in the middle of drawing the 3, if I'm not mistaken, and also a fellow Arizonan, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to Jim and the awesome just passion, that he brings to everything Sai King on the Hail to Stephen King group. He's very fun and super, super cool. Okay. So I will add another question here real quick before I double check the comments. So we already asked, what is the one book that Stephen King regrets writing? Now I'm going to ask, what is Stephen King's favorite book that he's ever written? First person to mention in the comments what Stephen King's favorite book that he has written is, you will win a Coexist shirt. Yes, a Coexist shirt. Just make sure to jump into the private messages here on the Facebookies, and I'll just keep this on my lap as opposed to messing things up. So the first person to mention what is the favorite book that Stephen King has written, you win a Coexist shirt. So, nothing wrong with a good remake. I actually agree. Nothing wrong with a good remake, Philippe, sorry, I hope I'm not butchering. And that's because nothing is ever going to take away the original from us, The worst that happens is it sucks and we still have a good original version of it. But you could always potentially improve, which is super cool. So, all right. Sherry says, agreed. I don't think Cujo needs a remake. I'd rather see Graveyard Shift done properly. Yeah, Graveyard Shift is one of those weird that they expanded upon it in an amusing fashion. The Mangler remake, that could be better. Now the chat is actually really going, which is exciting. 1122 is in my top 5, says Andrew. Boy, everything is going super fast now that I was just giving away a shirt. Dark Tower, Talisman, Black House, yes, exactly. My favorite is Salem's Lot, says Mason. Britt says, me too. I love vampires. Hey, you guys have seen me cosplaying as a vampire way too damn often. Yeah, Britt understood the half-baked reference, which was great. Rob! Rob, you made me into an amazing vampire, and I can never thank you enough, dude. Miss you, homie. Curtis says, okay, Waking Life is one of my favorite philosophical movies. Yeah, just the scene where you've got Linklater's two characters from the Before trilogy, and they're talking about just the brain activity before death and all the memories that you can live. That is such an amazing discussion. I love that bit. Haha, you hit 19 viewers. Yep, I said it. I was like, yeah, when I get 19 viewers, I'll do the next giveaway. Totally badass if Stephen King did that. I'm on the same page, man. That would be epic. Yes, Curtis. Sometimes I come up with good ideas. Okay, Salem's Lot. Lacey's Story. Yep, Lacey's Story could be good animated. Mason says Stan. He doesn't regret, but isn't happy with where it went. Well, I mean, yeah, to each their own. From what interviews have said, I do feel like he feels like it sends a bad message, Rage. And honestly, it does, because it glorifies our antagonist. I really, truly feel like it does, and there's no reason why he would take it out of a collection and not have it in print anymore, if not for the fact that he was at least regretful about some of the messages that he sent with it. Just guessing, but I actually have no idea. The Stand, I have no idea. Oh, you know what? Nick Oakes. I even forgot about the question that I was just asking, Peepers. Yes, so the question that I was just asking, silly enough, was Stephen King's favorite book. So, Nick has, in fact, won, bam, a Coexist shirt. Nick, we're friends on Facebook, dude. Make sure to hit me with your address, and I will most certainly get this Coexist shirt out to you, good sir. All right, yes. The Stand might be a favorite of many people, but yes, indeed. Cujo, nah, definitely not Cujo. The Shining. So, yes, so we're going to take a break from the questions, and I'm already at nearly an hour. Again, I have 19 people watching, which is the funny thing about these Facebook Live things is that, yeah, sometimes you don't have anybody arriving at the party initially, and especially since we didn't get to do this on YouTube, unfortunately. Okay, what is another question that I could ask? If you guys have any questions for me, yes, please. This was supposed to be an AMA/trivia thing, and then we do still have the corresponding YouTube video, which is a culmination of different bookshelf collections, different videos that people had sent me, like, I mean, Karina and Lily and a few other people. So, yes, that will be going up on the, excuse me, that's going to be going up on the Horror Show YouTube at some point this evening. But, yeah, if you have anything to ask me, please do. And if you don't ask anything within the next few minutes, I guess I can make mention of the year that we still have to look forward to. We have some anniversary coverage coming this month in September for The Stand. So The Stand turns 40 years old this month, which is pretty badass, guys. And so I'm going to be doing, it's funny because I'm going to be rereading both Bag of Bones and The Stand at the same time. I'm going to make the book club announcement here in just a few minutes before this video is over. But, yeah, so we're going to be doing an anniversary of the Stand novel. We're going to be doing an anniversary video about the Stand miniseries. We're also going to be doing an anniversary video about the Stand comic book. So those will all be separate Hail to Stephen King videos. You will probably see Cecil and or Marsha Parker popping in on those. So you have that to look forward to for the 40th anniversary of the Stand. And then probably a video similar to what I did with It, where it was like kind of like dream casting. So if I had dream recasting for something like It, or excuse me, something like The Stand, especially with it coming to the CBS whatever network, or supposedly still, yeah, who would I like to see in all of those roles? You know, who would I like to see as, you know, as Nick? Who would I like to see as, you know, M-O-O-N? That spells Tom Cullen. Who would I like to see as Underwood and all these other amazing characters like East Texas and stuff like that? So that'll be another The Stand video. And then in November, if I'm not mistaken, is when Pet Sematary celebrates its 35th anniversary. And so for the 35th anniversary of Pet Sematary, I'm also going to be doing an anniversary reread of that. I'm going to be doing bits about the film, and then I'm going to be doing a preview of the remake. I've already reviewed Pet Sematary 2, so I can't jump back down that rabbit hole as I did for Films That Forgot the Face of Their Father. But yeah, so that's some cool stuff that we have to look forward to. I'm also going to be doing coverage about Children of the Corn, as I mentioned, with Cecil and Marcia. So we're going to be doing all of those stupid sequels, the most sequelized and franchised of any Stephen King property. Mind-blowing in its silliness. We're also going to have the Mangler films. I'm going to be doing Firestarter 2 Rekindled with the girl who played Nadine in the lead role as the grown-up little Drew Barrymore, who was also she was on Just Shoot Me, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so that's something to look forward to, and then there's just loads of other cool things. The show is still going to continue going twice a week, as I've mentioned before, so there's no change in that, at least for now. But, yeah, so I guess this is as good a time as any to make mention of the fact that the Stephen King Monthly Book Club for the Hail to Stephen King Facebook group is officially commencing. As of today, I just re-downloaded the Bag of Bones audiobook, and then I am about to break out my copy there because I'm hoping to trudge through it with quickness since I'm also going to be reading The Stand at the same time. But I am going to be taking a look at, for its anniversary, the Bram Stoker winning and one of my least favorite Stephen King books, Bag of Bones. Yes, Nick was just telling me recently that he thought it was great and that I was totally wrong. Art is subjective, so I don't know. But it's not one with all the child custody stuff and a few of the other things. I mean, it's cool to see, like Ralph from, Insomnia, and there's lots of in-references. But for me, I just did not find that incredibly compelling when I first read it, but hey, who knows? With a second look, I might have a further appreciation for it. So at the end of the month, I'm going to be doing another live video, and we'll all talk Bag of Bones. I might even be doing some update bits here and there where I'm like, hey, I'm this many chapters in, and I'll just do a quick little video on the Hail to Stephen King group, and I'll be like, how far are all of you guys? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So that's at least a little taste of and Rob, Mr. Kaboski says, who cuts your hair? Nobody cuts my hair, Rob. Nobody. And the one time I let somebody cut my hair about a year ago, it ended up about to here. And dude was like, hey, I'm just going to take a few inches off, cut the split ends, and so on. And yeah, he ended up cutting 6 inches off. I was pissed. Do you have a certain goal to read a certain amount of pages or chapters a day? Honestly, I used to, Mason, but with as busy as I am with my band Chiron, as I am with the horror show and production aspects with that, because production doesn't just entail editing, but production entails being on Twitter every day, going on Bloody Disgusting, Daily Dead, all the different trades like Deadline and THR and stuff like that, and basically looking for horror news, whether it's a trailer we need to cover, whether it's a film we need to review. There's also premieres and stuff to go to. As I should say, if you're in the Phoenix area, jump on here on the horror show and make sure to and if you want to go see The Nun early, the Wednesday before it comes out, we have 5 pairs of tickets to give away, so that's exciting and fun. Have I ever been to Maine? Sherry asks. No, but me and Lily are planning a trip, which I'm very, very excited about. Favorite character, Curtis? Yeah, I just mentioned Larry Underwood. He is my favorite character, although Rob is very close in the fact that he says Skinner Sweet being my favorite character. Well, it's the one that I got to play on screen, and right there, American Vampire, co-written by Stephen King and Scott Snyder. Yeah, that was an amazing, amazing thing. And Rob, we need to just get everybody together and be friends and do this sequel that me and Cecil keep throwing ideas around about. I think this needs to happen, sir. We need to do that bar fight and smash some vampires through tables and stuff like that, like we've talked about for a while. Do you watch any other Mason says, do you watch any other Stephen King characters like Edward Lorne? I guess I don't know what he's saying. Okay. Do you speak Spanish or just know some words? Sebastian Silva says, mi español es muy poquito, es primero cocina español, so I learned most of my Spanish in the kitchen. I get shit from my girlfriend all the time who is fluent in Spanish, and she has every right to give me crap. Okay, Chris Payne, my singer in my band, says, if your band could do a complete soundtrack for a Stephen King book turned film, which would it be? Wow! Of course, one of the best questions comes, from the man I'm in a band with. Boy, I would have to say, Yeah, it would probably have to be Salem's Lot, because as much as I like dressing up as a vampire, it would have to be that or something from The Stand. But then again, the Anthrax did some stuff related to The Stand and Captain Trips and stuff. So yeah, I guess it would have to be Salem's Lot. Yeah. Have you ever seen or listened to the soundtrack of Carrie the Musical? No, I have not, actually. And that's one where I've been looking for a bootleg of the proceedings so that I can, just take things improper. I know they did some nods to the Carrie Musical recently on that, the Archie show, Riverdale or whatever, but I don't watch Riverdale. I haven't watched anything on the CW with the exception of Supernatural since Buffy ended, so... yeah, Rob is just kidding me, buddy. Yes, make another movie. We need to do it. Are you going to plug your band show for September 15th at Joe's Grotto? Or for the show at the Rogue Bar? It's actually September 21st at the Rogue Bar, Chris, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, if anybody is in the Arizona or the Phoenix area, I should say Chris is beating me over the head with a bit of information that I should definitely make mention of. So my band Chiron, which is a horror metal concept band, we are playing 2 shows for birthdays. One is September 15th at Joe's Grotto. That is for the birthday of my beloved guitarist, Mr. Michael Onak, a.k.a. Mahalo. And then we are doing a birthday show for myself on September 21st, which is the day after my birthday, and ironically on Sight King's birthday! Yes, how ironic is that? And we're playing the Rogue Bar in Scottsdale, Arizona. So if anybody's in the Phoenix metropolitan area on any of those particular days, I know I have supporters from all over the world. So thanks for the support. I'm humbled and honored as always. But if for whatever reason you're stomping around in the deadly desert, as they said in Return to Oz, and want to come and give a little what's up and bang your head, mental health will drive you mad. So come and join us. That would be amazing. Come join us. Whoa. Come join us. Okay. I notice in lots of videos that you've got some sweet metal grunge shirts. I'm a huge music fan myself. I'm actually working on a complete sleeve of album art. What's your favorite artist? My favorite artist is actually the one that I was just singing. Bad Religion is my favorite artist of all time, but very closely behind are Early In Flames, Pink Floyd, Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses is definitely up there. Pearl Jam, Tool. I love The Haunted, early Arch Enemy. So that's just a few off the top of my head. Yes, I play music, but I don't listen to just heavy music. I love Conor Roberson, Bright Eyes. I love Third Eye Blind and Everclear. I love The Doors and Creedence Clearwater and John Fogerty. So my taste is all over the place. Philip, his band, okay. The next movie will be mind-blowing. Boy, do I hope so, Rob. I think this needs to happen, dude. I'll have to check then. Asking who his favorite was. That's right. Mrs. Kabaski is here, which is, what's up, Anna? Hello. Okay, have you read something of Joe Hill? Yes, I have read some Joe Hill, actually, and ironically, yesterday I just picked up a copy of Nosferatu, which I'm very stoked to read. So far, I have read most of 20th Century Ghosts. I was actually just listening to some of that on the plane when I went to visit Lily in Denver, and I have read Heart-Shaped Box. I thought that was badass. I'm just about to start Horns, which is why I picked up a copy of Nosferatu, because Nosferatu is what I'm going to read right after Horns. But like I said, I'm also going to be reading Bag of Bones and rereading The Stand, so it's just a constant bit of craziness, y'all, I must admit. So yes, Joe Hill. I've also read the first edition of Lock and Key. So the first edition of Lock and Key is, yes, I'm going to have to readjust my leg because it is like totally falling asleep here. Oh my goodness. All right. Leg falling asleep, reposition keyboard. Okay. Yeah. So, I know Cecil is a huge fan of Lock and Key. He's very stoked that it's going to be adapted by Netflix. It was originally going to be a Hulu program. Andy Muschietti, actually, the IT director, guys, the director of the new version of it, directed a pilot for Lock and Key. Apparently they scrapped it and decided to keep like a couple actors and a couple peeps in the creative process, but now they're like retooling the entirety of it since they took it over from Hulu. And so that will be the second pilot for Lock and Key that was not used, but it was ordered to series on Netflix. And also another shout out to Jason Chamberlain. He's a big fan of Lock and Key as well. He's another member of the Hail to Stephen King Ka-Tet. So, Britt Rugg says, where can we watch your movie? Well, my movie that I starred as Skinner Sweet, the first American vampire, can be seen on the horror show YouTube. So basically, if you jump on youtube.com/the horror show channel and you search Sweet in the little magnifying glass that lets you search videos that are on our YouTube channel, you will see Rob as a vampire, and you will also see some fun practical effects of heads getting chopped off and fingers and skulls and all kinds of cool shizzle. So yes, that's where you can find it, and I recommend everybody to check it out because it was a ton of fun and an honor to actually get to be a part of that process. Yes. Okay. What is a King book that everyone talks crap about but you personally love? That's a good question. I don't know if they necessarily talk crap about it, but I love Cell. Yeah, I think Cell is the shit, man. Cell is awesome, awesome, awesome. I liked 3/4 of the adaptation. I really did. I thought it was pretty well done. I hated how King wrote the script and changed the ending. That really ticked me off. But yeah, Cell is Sai King's homage to George Romero and stuff like The Crazies, and to a lesser degree, like the Living Dead stuff. Well, actually, I should say the Dead Stuff, because Living Dead went with the other guy, and so yeah. But in any event, I would definitely say Cell is one that I think people are needlessly harsh about. Trying to think of another one, but yeah, that's really what pops out, because I don't see people talking smack about Doomickey because most people haven't even read it. I don't see people talking smack about Revival because most people haven't even read it. Although Revival is in my top 10 King books ever, ever, ever. I love Revival so very much. Okay. It's his favorite. I'm his favorite sculpture artist. Yes, Rob is. I actually still have this crazy gorilla-looking dude that Rob gave me after he put me in like a face cast thing and was like picking my nose and all this different stuff. That was actually really funny. I was just showing Lily that video, and she was very, very amused. Anyway, let's see what else we have in here. Have you ever tried writing horror before, or maybe following in the advice of ad writing? Says Pepe Silvia. ¿Qué onda, buddy? I have 2 scripts that have not been actually fully written but are completely outlined. One is horror, actually 3 I should say. I have 2 horror, and I have one that's an indie dramedy. So it's like an indie romantic drama comedy, and it's a road movie. So those have both been completely outlined with all of the story beats and with everything that transpires, and then I have tons of other short story ideas. But no, that's one thing that I have had various friends and significant others try to encourage me about pursuing is more writing myself, because I was a print journalist before I got into this camera talking stuff. So Karina says heart-shaped box. Do I like Blink-182? That's your favorite band. How do you think about Blink-182 after dude from after Tom got booted out and they brought in the Satanist? What's your thoughts about that? I would wonder, Mr. Mason. Okay. Do you ever have time for sleep? No, Nick. I actually sleep maybe 2 to 4 hours a night. I am, in fact, a damn peer, as I have stressed countless times, and therefore I don't really require very much of it. Yes, Skinner Sweet does, in fact, rock. Rob is right about that. What do you think in adaptations was the closest to the character that you had while reading? You see, the tough thing, Sherry, for me is that I always go in reverse order. So, unless it's something that turns into an adaptation after I've read it, I always watch before I read, because of the fact that is how I don't get disappointed. Okay? So, for me, anytime something is adapted, and not just Sai King, okay? Anytime something is adapted, it's going to be really the cliff notes of something, unless you're adapting a short story and trying to flesh out additional guts of stuff like they did with Graveyard Shift, or like they did with The Mangler or something like that, where they added in all these unnecessary additional plot threads and extra beats and stuff like that. Otherwise, you're going to be going cliff notes and you're going to be omitting things and just really hitting the biggest beats in the storytelling that are the most crucial to the story itself. And so, I really have to say that since I go in that backwards direction, I'd say maybe one of the best, because I had read the books before, is Mr. Mercedes, because even though he was not written as a Scotch Irishman, whatever Brendan Gleeson is. He epitomized Hodges so perfectly for me. That's the reference, that's the example that comes to mind. Okay, just continuing to look. Britt says, thank you, I'll definitely be watching it. Huge honor, says Rob. I think Salem's, okay, I think Salem's Lot, or the mini-series of it. Cool. Karina says, closest adapted character was Church. Yes, closest adapted character was most definitely Church. Scott Garcia, speaking of the other person who has something in my dining room. So from Rob Koboski, I have the molded gorilla face, and then from Scott, I have a Jason mask. So props to both of those guys for being super, super cool. Overrated versus underrated. Dropped the girlfriend name. Yep, dropped the girlfriend name. Yep, Lily's pretty amazing. She's awesome. But overrated versus underrated. I was going to say overrated Stephen King. People will hate me for saying this. Shining is definitely overrated. Cujo and Christine. Maybe Misery. I don't know. Those are just the first two that come to mind. Underrated would be something like Cell. Underrated would be Doomickey. Underrated would be Revival. Underrated would be, I think like the Dead Zone is underrated, personally. I really do. The Talisman. I mean, I'd say the Dark Tower series is underrated for the sheer fact that it doesn't, since it's one of those, it's only for the Stephen King super fans in a lot of ways, because so many people know about, they know about The Green Mile, and they know about Shawshank, and they know about Stand By Me, and they know about Misery. They know about all of the more grounded Stephen King dramatic material. But yeah, I think The Dark Tower it's for the Cy King super fans, and that's why I love everybody in the Hail to Stephen King Facebook group who's big into it, because it's like a subsect within a subsect. It's like a club within a club. So pretty cool. Rob says he would be glad to help with the next film. Yes. I hear Tommy Knockers is very bad, but I'm reading it currently and I love it. That's actually, Andrew brings up a great point. A lot of people talk a lot of shiznit about the Tommy Knockers. I love the Tommy Knockers, although I did not love it when I first read it. When I reread it for the anniversary last year, Guard is another one of my favorite Stephen King characters. Yeah, he's another guy, big time demons man, and he's also another character who he's not afraid to make personal sacrifice of sorts, like basically to put his body through, pain and destruction and things like that for the greater good. He's filled with a lot of conviction, I must admit. And I'm actually very excited for the remake that is coming of that, because the TV series was terrible, although I did think Guard was pretty well cast with Schmitz, the dude from NYPD Blue. But I am disappointed James Wan is only producing and not directing, so that's kind of a bit a bummer. But Andrew Thompson is totally right. Tommy Knockers is very, very underrated and needlessly hated. Okay, write your own script, and Rob says he will gladly make my monster. That's the thing. Both of mine are not necessarily monster related. There's Beneath the Rocks, and then there's I guess In the Shadows is kind of monster related. But those are my two horror ideas, and yes, both titles are copywritten, by the way. Which book has scared you, says Sebastian. Honestly, the only one that has left me totally unsettled and creeped out, I don't know if any have scared me, per se, but for ones that have just been, left me with that feeling of just uncomfortability, I guess, would definitely be Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary, especially as Creed descends into madness, and as Louis Creed starts justifying the insane things he's doing and plotting to do, like going to dig up his dead son, and also the scene where there's the Wendigo, basically the floating goat's head craziness where he goes through that other dimension after he steps over the deadfall and stuff like that. Yeah, Pet Sematary for me is the only Stephen King book that I find unsettling and as close to scary as scary can be. So, boy, we're already at almost an hour and 20 minutes, y'all, and yet we still have 19 people chilling. I love the fact that we have 19 people chilling. I'm actually gonna... That's our screenshot because it had 19 people on it. What's up? Okay, see you tomorrow, brother. Hail to Jaime, says Chris Payne. Yes, The band will be rehearsing tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. Underrated is The Long Walk, says Philip Barletto the third. Yes, I totally agree. The Long Walk is very underrated. I would actually say Road Work is really underrated too, personally, if we're going to talk more Bachman books. And also, I would go as far as saying another one that's underrated is another Bachman, which is Thinner. And I'm going to piss everybody off by saying The Drawing of the Three is way, 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 way overrated. You heard it here first. Actually, no, I've said that countless times. Ha ha! So, if you had the opportunity to interview Sai King, what is the one question that you would have to ask, says Scott Baker? Boy. Yeah, I don't think that that's something that I could answer as quickly as I would like, unfortunately. During your day job, do you promote your love for Sai King? Oh, I think I promote my love for Sai King because I say Thankee Sai constantly at the day job, like to everybody. Pet Cemetery is very scary, says Andrew. And Mason says, do you think Insomnia is a good book or kind of meh? You know, it's kind of meh for me. It is. It's, for me, one of those books that I feel is trying too hard. Lily will definitely rack me over the coals for saying this, but I didn't like the whole pro-life versus pro-choice stuff. It feels very of the era to me. It feels very mid-90s, and with the exception of like the adding of the Crimson King stuff and lore, but even that felt kind of out of place. I don't know, it felt like it was very heavy-handedly trying to connect the outer Kingverse to the inner Kingverse, and the fact that he made it take place in Derry again, and I don't know, it had a very similar, just overt heavy-handedness that, I don't know, that's something like Dreamcatcher had, but I don't hate it. I do really like the character of Ralph Roberts a lot. I like his love story, and I thought the weird little bald doctors were interesting enough, but yeah. Anyway, yes, I think it's more on the meh side. Underrated Joyland. Karina, you're so right. If you saw my 10th anniversary discussing Joyland, you would know that I also feel Joyland is exceedingly underrated and does not get the proper love that it deserves, at least in my personal estimation. Okay, yes, Karina, says Cecil. Yes, agreed. Yes, Joyland is great. Everybody seems to be in agreement about that. And the numbers are starting to go down. Nick is even congratulating me on 100. I think that, yes, people are, in fact, as we approach the 90-minute mark, I think I should probably at least ask one more trivia and give away one more shirt before everything falls into place. Actually, yeah, I should ask this. So, what are my two least favorite Stephen King books? Whoever names my two least favorite Stephen King books first, you will be the final winner of a Coexist shirt. So, private message me if you are the first to answer this particular question, guys. And yes, I'm wearing like leather and like all of this attire here inside a house, and I've got the air conditioning blazing, but it's still hot with all this stuff on. So what is it that a friend of mine used to say? Beauty is pain. So yeah, that's exactly right. So yeah, the first person to name my two least favorite Stephen King books, you win a Coexist shirt. And I guess I will take this opportunity. Don't talk poorly about Drawing of the Three, sir. Haha. Well, I mean, hey, it's not as bad a song as Susanna. Anyway, you know what you're talking about. Keep up the great work, Rob. Thank you so much. I am forever grateful for the awesome collaboration that we had with you, sir. Major respect, and I hope that we can get to work on something again soon, man. Much love to you. Ooh, Consuela had, Curtis got it. Curtis Rodriguez. Consuela, you were so close, miss. Rage is not my least favorite, but it's really close. But yes, Curtis got it very quickly before Mason and Scott Baker. No, Tommy Knockers I actually really love, man. But yep, Dreamcatcher is the other one. So for the final shirt that was being given away, yes, that's right. Congrats to Curtis, and make sure to private message me, sir, here on Facebook so that I can get this shirt mailed out to you. And yeah, guys, we are, I guess we're reaching the finish line here. And I'm just going to do, since I love basketball, yep, exactly like that. And I have been saving this for the end of the episode. Note that I have a towel on because I did not want everybody to see what sort of campagna I actually got here. And you know it's really, really good stuff when it doesn't actually have a real quirk. So this is my way, boom, of extending a grande gracias to everybody here that has supported this show over 100 episodes. I'm just going to take a tiny little taste here for everybody. And yes, there really would not be this program if not for people who I perceive to have a similar passion about Sai King as me, people who are just, you know, from all walks of life across the entire planet. It doesn't matter if you're here in the good old US of A with me, or if you're in the Czech Republic, if you're in Chile, if you're in Denmark, if you're in Sweden, if you're in the UK, wherever the hell you may be, this is for all of you. Salud! I've been Jaime and Fuego. You can find me on all social media sectors, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Keep your eyes out for the corresponding YouTube video, which is going to be myself showcasing the other people who just have done amazing artwork, like Stephen and Lily, or peeps who have shown just amazing support with you know, their book collections and things of that nature. So this one is to all of you. You will be able to watch this video again here on you know, the Horror Show YouTube, but it's also going to be popping up on here on the Horror Show Facebook, but also popping up on the Horror Show YouTube with that additional content. So if you're a fan of this program, make sure to like, share, and subscribe here on Facebook. Also make sure to do the same thing on YouTube. Hit that bell so you get notifications anytime we do our 2 to 3 episodes a day, as we do on the YouTube channel. I do Hail to Stephen King twice a week, so it's every Tuesday, and it is every Saturday, at least for the time being. And yes, who knows, maybe I'll go back to one episode at one particular point when the ideas run out, as RJ Price was worried, but at least for now, everything is looking pretty sweet, and just constantly going, y'all. Constantly going. Thank you so very much to all of the peeps on Hail to Stephen King. I have a very lengthy list of thanks, which is going to be in the YouTube video official that I recorded, because there was just such a lengthy list of constant posters. You know, I've given a shout out to a few here that I saw pop up in the chat, but I love you peeps, you know, as much as I love Stephen King, but there would be no program here if not for all of you and the humbling, just kind, awesome support that you have given me and that you've given the Horror Show. Myself, Cecil, Marcia, Dave, Susie, Luis, you know, boy, Dirk, all of us, Mercer, we thank the hell out of you for supporting this program and supporting the Horror Show in its entirety. So until next time, everyone, when the Wheel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, sin amigos. That is cinema and amigos, like together, combining into one word. Yes, it's silly as hell. I am well aware of this, but hey, this is Fuego speech. You know, it's, you know, Jaime and Fuego, you know, the pop culture references and grade school Spanish since 2009, as I always say. So I hope we get to see one another sooner rather than later. And until the next installment of Hail to Stephen King, when I debut the new set for episode 101, remember, stay scared and read Stephen King. Love you guys. Salud. Peace out. Love you.